It's December 31st, 2019, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. As of this moment, depending on when you're watching this, there are fewer than 12 hours left of 2019. As the year dwindles down to die, I thought it would be fun to take a look back and reflect. I published more than 30 videos this year, 2 with over 100 views, 1 with almost 250 views. I've written dozens of blog posts, I've hand-painted skateboards, started a skateboard brand, made a bunch of new friends, and, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to where it all began. Our story begins in April. Up until now, inline skating was my thing, but it wasn't always convenient or safe to rollerblade in the city. So I pulled my old popsicle deck out of the trunk of my car and I realized I needed a new board. The wheels were shot, the bushings had crystallized and crumbled into pieces, and the pivot cups were ground into dust. Not only that, but the trucks were too short for larger, softer wheels. Seeing as how I could get a brand new complete on clearance for about the price of new wheels and trucks, I took the advice of a very helpful Zoomies tech and ordered one. A few weeks later, my cruiser complete arrived in the mail. It was almost exactly what I wanted. I began riding it around the neighborhood immediately. Fast forward to July. I was gaining confidence every day. In this clip, I'm riding down a hill that scared the bejesus out of me only a few weeks prior. On the other side of this ravine is an even steeper hill that bends to the right halfway down. I had zero confidence in my ability to maintain control around that bend at that speed. Little by little, however, I gained the courage and the confidence to do it. And now, it's my favorite part of the whole trail. It had been more than a year since my last skate chat vlog, and I wasn't in much of a hurry to start them up again. They were a lot of work, and not much return on that investment. Barely anyone watched them, but I did miss doing them. Truth be told, what was holding me back was the lack of a decent action cam. I no longer had the convenience of using Andrea's GoPro, so I was forced to use my phone. It worked about as well as you might expect of an Android. Sometimes it would glitch, lose audio sync, or worse, it would lose the clip entirely. Other times, it would overheat and refuse to work at all. Not only that, but it was a real pain to hold on to, and I wasn't 100% confident in my riding to be willing to dangle it out in the open. If I was going to start vlogging again, I really needed a GoPro, so that's what I got. A GoPro Hero from 2010. I mean, it was $40 on eBay, and it does what I need. In August, I began to wonder how many more videos I could make of myself just skating around, cruising trails, surfing sidewalks, etc., without doing any tricks or stunts. Although, to be honest, I wish more carving, surf skating videos existed, because I really enjoy watching them. It really doesn't bother me if I never learn how to kickflip, grind a rail, or whatever. I just really want to be able to hop over obstacles like curbs and cracks in the pavement, but, other than that, I'd much rather just carve hills and surf skate. It might not be as exciting to watch, but it's more fun to me than repeating the same trick over and over again. Sorry, not sorry. September and October represented a huge turning point for me. After flying solo all summer, it was great to meet people who were also interested in skateboarding. It's not like it was back in the day when Andrea would skate after work with me almost every evening, but I'll take whatever I can get. Jamie was a great sport. She really took to skateboarding almost instinctively. Although we only skated this one time, we still had such a blast. Even being caught in the rain couldn't dampen our day. Plus, the rain gave me a great idea to get creative with some slow-mo footage. Speaking of Andrea, we did manage to get in a few night sessions downtown. Skating is lots of fun in the dark when there's no traffic to contend with. Here we are back on our old stomping grounds, tearing it up like old times. Notice the slightly modified setup? That's the old popsicle deck that I wanted to refurb back in April. I wanted to see how it would feel to skate a longer deck, and see if it would be any easier to ollie. Well, I do love having a longer deck, but I still can't ollie for crap. However, I did try to add to my repertoire, taking advantage of this ramp to learn how to drop in, and of course taking advantage of these grass clippings for more slow-mo footage. At long last, I finally got to paint this deck. I wanted to do it for weeks, but I just never had the time to let it sit long enough to dry between uses. So here it is, with the weather turning crappy and no good excuses to go skating for a few days, I seized the opportunity to do it right. Well, here's something. I met Amy selling t-shirts for the Big Gay Story Slam during the Scranton Fringe Festival. We talked for a bit, but had no idea the other had any interest in skating and or one-wheels. After we followed each other on Instagram, I saw them post a picture of their one-wheel and was amazed to see someone else in Scranton who even knew what they were. Then and there, I just knew I had to invite them out for a skate sesh, and I'm so glad they agreed. We've been getting together almost once a week ever since, weather permitting. It's definitely been the highlight of my year in skating. Unfortunately, I just don't think I'm cut out for the float life. I'm sure I could probably get the hang of it if I put in enough time and effort, but as it is currently, I think I'm better off surfing on four wheels. This was probably the single biggest event of the year for me. I simply could not wait for Bartari to open, and I was not disappointed. Hanging out with Jason for the day, playing old games, just sharing in the joy and the excitement that we finally have something like this in downtown Scranton made me really happy. Even getting knocked off my board by a tree branch and suffering a concussion couldn't stop me from counting this as one of the best days of 2019.
This is the Waterborne surf adapter, and that's the rail adapter down there.
What can I say about the Waterborne SurfSkate adapter that I haven't already said in every vlog since I got it? Everything it says it will do in the brochure, it does. Tighter turns, deeper carves, easier to pump, but that wasn't what I was expecting at first. In this first video of me using it, I was really off-put by how wobbly and unstable it is. I'd grown so accustomed to having my feet placed in one way that suddenly I felt like I had to relearn how to ride a skateboard all over again. I couldn't pump carve, the tighter turns made me uneasy, and when the board would practically tip over in a carve, I almost felt like I'd made a mistake in buying it. I also didn't like how much heavier and taller it was. But then I just kept at it, and it got easier and more rewarding each day. Even here, a few days later, just that little bit of extra time and experience was all I needed to gain the confidence to really work this thing out. And now, weeks after first installing it, I finally really started to get what surf skating is all about. All I wanted was to be able to pump and keep the board going over long distances without pushing, and it will do that. But my approach was all wrong. I wasn't using it to its full potential until I understood that this was a whole new experience, a whole new way to enjoy skateboarding. I love it now. No regrets. I'm all about embracing that surf skate lifestyle. At this point, we are almost up to date. In the last few months, I painted a few more skateboard decks, opened a skateboard shop selling my own branded skateboards, and I even started selling prints of some of the photos that I shot over the summer. Also, despite the fact that I swore I wouldn't allow myself to get sucked back into vlogging and become obsessed with it again, I find myself actually having a bit of success with it. I got about 10 or so new subscribers, I've met some really cool people through Twitter and Instagram, and I've progressed in ways that I hadn't imagined. Skateboarding has really changed my life. I can't really describe it, but it's like being a kid again. I remember riding sleds down the hillside with my friends, where I grew up, My most recent session in Aon Park, as seen here, reminds me of that experience. Just pushing the board up a hill to carve back down to the bottom is all the fun in the world to me. I never thought I'd be doing this today. And so, as the clock ticks down, we say goodbye to 2019. And while I know it wasn't a good year for a lot of folks out there, for me, it was a huge step up from 2018. I don't know what 2020 will hold, but it has been such a wild trip so far that I can't wait to see what comes. Here's to 2020, and here's to a whole new decade. Keep surfing that sidewalk.